We are really thrilled about our next guest. The moment we walked in the studio, we're all like, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Actors Jon Bernthal and Jamie Hector. They are best known for their roles in popular TV shows like The Walking Dead and The Wire, and now they're teaming up to star in a new series. It's called We Own This City, based on a book by the same name. It's by the same team that brought us The Wire back in the day, and also takes place in the lovely city of Baltimore. The limited series, inspired by real-life events, chronicles the rise and fall of Baltimore Police Department's Gun Trace Task Force, where corruption, as you could see or have heard, was rampant. Hector plays a homicide detective, and Bernthal plays a police sergeant at the center of the corruption. Now, in this clip, he briefs the department on the task force.
You don't worry about going out on the street and ending up on someone's viral video, Sergeant Jenkins?
Hey, as long as they get my good side. Ladies and gentlemen, what you see here, this is a result of one raid on one house in Collington Square. Now, we are the Gun Trace Task Force. We get guns off the streets. It's what we do. Now, with a little more personnel, a lot more overtime, there's no telling the effect that we could have reducing the surge of violence in this city.
Jon Bernthal and Jamie Hector join us for their first broadcast TV interview together. It's good to see you guys together. Really bravo, 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 gentlemen. Jon, I'm going to start with you because you play such a jerk. I know. And everybody that knows you says that you were so fantastic. So how did you prepare? Because you start out with this role where you were talking nonstop the first part for 5 minutes straight. And you have such swagger and such arrogance and such bleh. I mean, how did you prepare for this?
I just enormously grateful to be a part of the show and part of this team. The Wire and what you guys accomplished. It's undeniable, and it's. That show has so much resonance, I think, in this country, and then I think when you look at how much resonance it has in the city of Baltimore, I knew that would provide us access in this really just unbelievable way. So I knew that going in and being part of the Wire team, it would open us up to tell this unbelievably sensitive story. And the police department, the police department of the city of Baltimore, they really opened up.
They were helpful.
So,
but I still don't understand how you were able to prepare to play such a jerk so well. Seriously, did you? I am curious about your process.
Well, look, I think it's really important for me to, the first conversation I had with David Simon, he says, look, we can't play a monster here. You got to play a human being. And it's really important, I think, to not completely judge your characters and to try to find a bit of connection. And I will say about Wayne Jenkins, to a person, whether it was the drug dealer that he was selling drugs with on the street, whether it was other officers whose careers have really been upended by the criminality and the evil choices that he made, to a person, everybody said he was an incredibly loving father. And that's something that I can really identify with and relate to. My kids are the most important thing in my life. So that was a real hook. And I think you always got to find those bits of connection.
Jamie, David Simon, creator of The Wire, says that this is kind of the next chapter in that story. You played a drug kingpin 20 years ago.
Right.
What was it like stepping back into that scene, that scenario, and do you see this as a continuation of that other story?
Well, stepping into homicide detective Sean Suter from playing Marlowe in Baltimore, Maryland was a pleasure, only because I get a chance to, one, work with David Simon and George again, but two, tell a story that's honest and true. It's nonfiction about a city that suffered the consequences of those actions. It was a transition. It was work, It was a level of confidence also, because John said something earlier on about just making sure that you humanize these characters and keeping them human, and that was the important part to me as well, because people will look and they'll say, okay, that was Marlowe in the city of Baltimore, giving law enforcement work. Right? Right. And now he's on the other side of the spectrum, actually changing it. So it was fun.
George Pelecanos, great crime writer, knows crime, knows corruption. I heard him say that the true story of this gun trace task force may be the story of the most corrupt police task force anywhere in the country in history. How did you get your mind around being part of that on screen?
Well, having a conversation with George Pelecanos, him saying, listen, you just came off of 7 years as playing a detective on Bosch. I want you to visit this character as well. So I said, can I read some material, some source material on him? He sent me the book, and I couldn't put it down.
Are you guys worried about how police will perceive this series, Jon?
Look, these issues of our day, these are as sensitive and volatile issue as you can possibly explore. And I think that these issues deserve to be explored for all their nuance, for all their layers. And we're dealing with people who come at the work with this real journalistic integrity. On this set, the truth wins. We shot the scenes in the city, at the location, a lot of times with the real folks actually being there. Truth always prevailed on this set. So I think if you're going to explore these issues, you got to dive into the wound and depict it, bruises and all, and you can't pull punches. I just want to avoid these kinds of issues, these kinds of discussions where you're just kind of arguing from the polls and you're flag waving and you have agenda. And I can't imagine a better group to tell this story with.
Now, I was a huge fan of The Wire. I watched all 6 in this series. If you're a huge fan of The Wire, you see some similarities in terms of how they shoot it and all that kind of thing. But when it came to The Wire, you were rooting for everyone, the bad guy, the good guy, the cops, the drug dealers, the drug addict. In this, I had a real struggle going, who am I rooting for here? Was that a struggle in terms of playing these characters too?
Well, the beauty about The Wire is that everyone was flawed. Right? And I think that's the approach that David takes in this as well. I mean, I don't have a problem rooting for Sean Suiter. But Gayle pointed to something real, that Jenkins' character is so charismatic.
Yes.
He grabs you as soon as you come on the scene with that speech.
Yes.
So rooting for him in terms of entertainment and seeing him display this character on screen is one thing, but when you really get the entire scope of the story, it's very difficult to root for these individuals because it's true.
Right.
All I can say, guys, it's so good. I just intended to watch one episode just to get a feel for it. And 4 episodes later, I was there. And then I said, I got to go to bed. But
Fantastic.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Very well done.
Thank you, guys.
That is Jon Bernthal. That is Jamie Hector in the lovely marigold suit. I love that. You can watch the series premiere. I love it. It's called We Own This City this Monday on HBO.